Hey friends! So we only have just a few more days that we're going to be talking about 2D shapes, and I'm excited about this lesson because I think it's the most fun because we're going to be able to do a little bit of building. So we're going to be using what's called pattern blocks, and you might not have these at home, and that's totally okay. You can always print some out, and you can always just kind of follow along with me, or you also can just draw it in a notebook. You don't have to have the pattern blocks, but we've been talking about 2D shapes and being able to identify what a 2D shape looks like and how we know it's that 2D shape. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing something called composing. When you compose something, you create or you make something, okay? So we're going to be putting shapes together to make a new shape using our pattern blocks here like you see on the screen. We have a trapezoid, a triangle, a square, a hexagon, a rhombus, and then a skinnier rhombus. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see just how we can make a 2D shape using other 2D shapes. So first here we have 4 green triangles. We're going to use these triangles to make another triangle, which sounds kind of crazy, but stick with me. So here we're going to use 3 triangles as they put them together, and now I made one big triangle, and we can actually use all 4 to make a big triangle. So within the triangle, the big one, we now have 4 little triangles. Now it's harder. Why are we talking about this? Great question. The reason we're talking about this is because in 2D shapes, we want to be able to understand exactly how we can identify them. And so I know as a triangle that has 3 sides and 3 vertices, and I know how I can build a triangle. I can build it using other shapes and still make a triangle, which is awesome. All right, here I have a rectangle that I'm going, so this one, they use 4 squares. They put them together to make a rectangle. They just line them up side by side to make a long rectangle. Now watch what happens when we rearrange these squares and see what shape it turns into. It turns into a square. We use 4 squares to make a square, like in the game Foursquare. And so the reason it can still be a square is because it has the right length and sides that make the fit together, which is awesome. Here's a fun one. So we're going to make a hexagon using these red trapezoids. So we're going to use 2 of them. We're going to flip one, push them together, makes a hexagon. So a hexagon can be split into 2 trapezoids. What can we create using a square and a triangle? Well, I know that these both have straight lines. I know that they can fit together pretty well. So let's see what we can do. We move the square and the triangle on top, we have a pentagon. And I know it's a pentagon because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, and pentagons have 5 sides. All right, now let's see what we can make with a triangle, a rhombus, and a trapezoid, excuse me. So I'm going to flip the trapezoid, move the triangle over, and my rhombus, now we have a hexagon. Remember earlier we just used the trapezoid. Sorry, we used 2 of them to make a hexagon, but here we use 3 different shapes, and it all worked out. And so it still gave us the same shape, but we used different ones to make it this time. Now again, you might not have pattern blocks at home, and that's totally okay, but I want to challenge you. What other shapes do you think you can make using these 2D shapes? And I will say circles are going to be really hard and ovals are going to be hard because they have curved lines, and those don't really go together as easily as the straight lines do, right? So what I challenge you is see what shapes can you make using some of these 2D shapes. What can you make using a triangle and a rhombus? What can you use making squares? What can you use making a hexagon and triangles? I want to challenge you what you guys can make. And I'm excited about what you guys are going to create in your lessons today.